It comes a time in everyone's life where you realize, when your eyes are just now open, when you take no more of anything less than from anyone, you no longer can. It's almost like a vow or a promise that you say, that you give to yourself, that you deserve better. You will do better. You will feel better. And no matter where you go, that will follow us. That will be our vow to ourselves. That is what will reflect. That is what people will have no choice but to see. Because simply, they now know that them treating you a certain way, them talking to you a certain way, will not be accepted. It now becomes a reality, a tough and harsh one for them. Now they face in you. It's a reflection, really, because you don't tolerate it. You don't shove it away. You don't let it go. You face it, and they have no choice but to face it. They have no choice but to face it or walk away. As you. And there will come a time where you have to face it. You have to choose to. Because you just do. And you don't question it. You realize that the world needs more of it. This is not about turning the other cheek. This is not about that. This is about constructive criticism. Everyone needs it. It's called tough love for a reason. If you didn't learn it when you were a child and now as you're an adult, you're still in those ways. 50, 60, still in those ways. That's not my fault. That's not the person that you're showing disrespect to. That's not the person, that's not how they're receiving it. They're not receiving it in an understanding way, no longer. Because they don't have to, because disrespect is disrespect. They're seeing you no longer as a title. They're seeing you as what you're presenting yourself to be. Again, these are adults. You are an adult. So why should you have to stay the same? Why should you have to stay in the same place? Why? When the time doesn't stop, when you still age just as them, what makes it hypocritical? What makes a person be a hypocrite in that scenario? Because they don't want to face it and you do? Because you're older and can see clearly, but they don't want to? Or because they do and they always have, but they choose and don't care to make change off of constructive criticism. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear nothing. And that's okay, right? That's okay because, listen, you just won't tolerate it. So it really comes down to what they choose. It really comes down to if they want to take in what a person is saying to them. And if not, it's okay. Because they won't be in your life. They don't have to be. It's giving them this ultimatum. And not even an ultimatum, really. Because there's nothing that needs to be told to them. It's going to be shown to them by your actions. You won't tolerate it. You'll make it known to them. And they'll hear it, they'll see it, they'll sense it, they'll know it. And they'll make it seem like you're causing rift. You're causing an issue. You're the problem. Now you're, being evil. That is their reflex. That's their spirit's reflex. Spitting out all this. Hypocritical things. Spitting out things that are not sensible. Instead of taking in the constructive criticism. They don't want to hear it. They talk over you. There's a time and place for that. I give understanding because I do that. But not if it's serious. Not if someone's trying to tell me something. Not if you care. Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out, though. And there it is. You see a person that is no longer a child, but a grown adult that does this. You could have let it pass if they were young, a child. You could have let it pass if it was, something that they were working on. Okay. But like you hear all the time that when you reach a certain age, whatever that age may be, you stuck in your ways. And then there's this entitlement that you shouldn't be talking to me this way. You shouldn't be sounding like this to me. And it's just like, why not? Because why? When it's necessary. Clearly, you're affecting me. And if I'm affected, yes, I can, what they call turn the other cheek. Yes, I can ignore it. Yes, I can sweep it under the rug. Yes, I can just be like, whatever. As I have always. Or I can address it. And I can address it as an adult. But to make it hard for a person to address you, talking over them, shouting, it sounds familiar. It sounds like one of us, what we could do. But we're... you want to give people grace. But if it's time and time and time again, it will just come a time where it's like, okay, this person is literally telling me that they will never change. They don't want to change. They've been this way their whole life, right? So it doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what you do. They don't care. So you think, okay, well then it's their way or the highway, right? So you tell them. If you don't like how I'm speaking to you, all of a sudden, if you find it's an issue, then you don't have to talk to me. You don't have to call me. But when you do, understand, you're going to address me a certain way. I will not tolerate that tone. I will not tolerate one-sidedness. Don't be a hypocrite, right? If I ask you how your day is and I want to know certain things, don't say mind your business. And then ask me what I'm doing and all these things. And I'm very open because it's the common courtesy to answer common questions. Of course, being a grown person, mature, you understand people have their own business. They don't want to tell you everything. There's a thin line. But if it's just common questions like, okay, so you're going out. Okay, what are you going out to do? And they feel uncomfortable telling you, that's not my issue. Because I didn't say, oh, you shouldn't be doing, you shouldn't be. I said, oh, what are you going to do? Common question. It could have just common question. Why are you in my business? Why you want to know? Whoa, am I talking to a child? Am I talking to a teenager? Sounds suspicious, makes you seem like weirded about it. But this is not a child. This is not a teenager. This is a adult. This is 50, 60-year-old. Even it could be higher than that. And they've been this way their whole life. But you never pressed it, you know? Because you say, oh, this is who this person is. We accept who this person is, you know. Of course. We love this person regardless. Of course. But it comes a time. It may just be within that hour that they, you know, something clicks. And you don't like how you being spoken to. You don't like the one-sidedness. You don't like the hypocrite in the situation. So you bring it to their attention. You know that's kind of hypocritical, right? When you not that the person asks you many questions, no, but they ask common questions certain times. Or they might push a narrative like, oh, I wish you were here. I wish you were there. I wish, you know, you need to be here. You need to be there. You need to, and then, so you give it back to them. You say, why are you hypocritical sometimes? Now they don't understand what that means. Now they don't know what you're saying. So now you have to say it in a different way. You say, why is it that when I ask you certain things, and I don't ask you many things, I never have, but today I'm choosing to ask you certain things. I'm choosing to have a proper conversation where it's looping, right? You say something, I say something. You say something, I say something. Why is it that when it's my turn to be informed about you, I shouldn't know. I don't need to know. And oh, I don't need to know because you're the adult. I said, wait, hold on. You know I'm an adult, right? You know that I'm an adult, right? You know that I'm 31, right? It doesn't matter if I was 21. You know that I'm 21, right? But it's not even that. It's the entitlement. It spews out. You know that I'm older than you. Why are you talking, you know, why are you talking back to me? I said, this is talking back to you? Me addressing something, me trying to understand your communication skills, me trying to present to you that you may be lacking in certain areas. That's me talking back to you. Spewing all of this nonsense, right, to me. It's in the back of my mind, but it's nonsense, is it not? And even in this time of the nonsense, it just keeps unraveling that you have to address the nonsense until one of us hangs up. Until one of us threatens to hang up on you. And it's not going to be me. Because I'm trying to know. I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to address something so we can nip it in the bud. You know. And even if it's not fixed, of course, because this person has always been this way. It's the simple fact that I'm going to let you know that it's not about you being older. It's not about you being a family member. It's not about that. It's not about you being a friend. What friend? Who? No, but it's not about entitlement. It's not about title right now. It's about just what it is, right? But the person on the other side don't want to see it that way. They just want to spew nonsense. They want to spew entitlement written all over their spirit, instead of just addressing it, instead of addressing the issue, answering the question. They'll talk over you. They'll talk even louder. They won't allow you to speak. And again, I have that issue too, you know. because I like to talk, right? But there's a thin line. It's like if I care and it's a serious situation, right? There's a difference because I'll be talking just like I'm talking now, and I'll be rambling and and then what happens is that if the person wants to say something, I'm like, hold on, let me finish what I'm saying because I'm gonna forget, right? So even if I hear them talking, I'm gonna still talk over them because I'm still not done, right? And again, maybe it may look like a certain thing, but there is a difference that I'm not technically doing it to cause an issue. I'm not technically doing it to not hear the person. It's just I need to finish what I'm about to say because my mind goes like overboard, right? It's very hyper, so it's like I need to spew all this out because I'm going to forget. So I even with me, like I have issue with that, right? And it stems from what you're used to, right? If your family, if the people that you're around, you do that, we talk over each other and it's not an issue, well, it's an issue in the real world because outside of that, people, it's not it's not something they're used to, right? It can come off rude. Do, 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 do. So, and even still, even if no one sees it as rude, it still is a form of rudeness. It's not proper communication, right? Um, so that's why it can slide when it's around friends that know you, family that knows you, because they'll let it slide, right? Or they may do it themselves. So it may be normal in that space. But even if it's normal and even if I know that's what I'm used to, I still, as an adult in the real world, dealing with people that are outside of me, outside of that space, I still have been made aware that it does come off rude, that it isn't a form of proper communication. I don't have to technically go to communications classes or courses to be introduced to it. No, you just talk to a person outside of your space and you think that's going to slide with them, right? Because everybody wants to be heard. So again, even still, your instincts know that it's not proper for someone to talk. It's not proper for me. If someone's talking and they're getting out their thoughts, they're trying, they're thinking at the same time, they need all this clarity. They don't need you interrupting them. That's the last thing. And you don't want to be a hypocrite because we can all be where I'm going to interrupt them, but I know that I'm going to cause a fit if they do the same thing to me, right? So so again, I'm sure a lot of people have these issues, some more than others, right? But here's the thing. That's okay. It's just about whenever you hear the constructive criticism, you say, okay, I'm working on it. Even if you still haven't mastered it, even if you're still doing it, okay, like you still acknowledge it. Like you still allow the person to express their frustration over it. You still know in yourself the acknowledgement. Like, yeah, I'm still working on it. Yeah, dang it. Oh my God. You're still aware and you make it aware, even if the person doesn't catch it. Oh my God, I'm doing it again. That's where I'm at in life. I'm at in life where I'm aware of it, not even, but I'm working on it, and even if I don't stop myself in time, I'll stop eventually and be like, dang it, I did it again. Either or, right? There's a difference. And then now you have this person. I spoke about this in my last live. Age is nothing but a number, but I mean they still should be held accountable. The age is important in some places and certain things, right? Right? Children are off limit. And I feel in this situation too, like when it comes to disrespect, we're gonna look at your age. Clearly, age, it didn't matter about age, but it still can. Because if you're older, your chances of being made aware of certain things should have been higher. than a person that is younger. Their chances of being aware of certain things, experiencing certain things, getting constructive criticism, going to school and experiencing, like those things are low, understandably. So yes, there's an expectation. Not that it's just a do all be all, that just what it is at a certain age. Clearly not. That's where the error is. Just because you're older doesn't make you to be anything any more or any less. It depends on other things. But there is an expectation. Yes, there is. Whether you see it in a negative way or a positive way, whether it's in a negative way or a healthy way, there's always going to be an expectation, because truth be told, they're supposed to be. There is a right way, there is a better way. So if you're not living a better way, or if you're not evolving, that's what the expectation is. It's not saying, oh, you got to be perfect. Oh, you have to just know this at this certain age. No, it's just saying, are you evolving? Are you willing to work on certain things? Are you willing to listen? And why is it that every time you want to talk over every time? That tells a person that you're not willing. You're not even trying. You're not even trying to evolve. Because before you actually evolve, you have to try. You have to do. You have to become. But if the person time and time again is saying, oh, I don't care, I am stuck in my ways, this is how I want to be, this is what I've always been. And so I look at that like, okay, but here's your chance to see a mirror, because I don't know, maybe you don't have people in your face telling you these things because of your attitude, because it's just so ballistic, like, leave me alone, like, let me be type thing. And it's just like, I hear that, like, I respect that, but this is coming from a person that cares, right? Because again, I can see myself in those things. A lot of people can see themselves and their individuality and like who they want to be. And of course you have that. That's respectable, right? You want to be this thing, okay, be this thing. You want to be, leave me alone, you right. Let a person leave you alone, let you be. Yeah, because I feel the same way. But there comes a time where it's just like, I need to see, that person needs to see that this is a person that cares for me. This is a person that's trying to care for me. This is a person with this constructive criticism that wants to see me do better. This is a person that has known me in a way and never has confronted me in such ways. So it's not like they just causing a problem. This must be important to them. We should be coming to an understanding, not being so defensive all the time. There's a time and place. There's a time and place, because there are people that just want to poke you, right? Just want to cause a rise out of you. Just want to see you spit fire. I speak about this. Just a person that wants to stir up some trouble. But that's not what you're trying to do. That's not what you're trying to do in this situation. And you want the person to see that. So you're sincere. But they don't care, because you know why? They don't want anyone telling them what to do. That type of person is literally the definition of it's my way or the highway. Not saying that they'll literally leave and go away, but I'm just saying that they're the type where they're literally stuck in their ways. Because literally they've been this way their whole life. And we only live but for so long. So if they are 50, 60, maybe 40, who knows? But you know that age where they're grown. They've probably had their kids are grown. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. So we'll say 50, 60 in this time frame, because after 60, I mean, I don't know. You're just whatever, you know? You're just living your days, I guess. But you still have that time when you hit 50 and 60, because you've been 20, you've been 20 to make mistakes, 20 you're figuring yourself, 20 you're having fun, whatever the case may be, you're coming out of the nest for the first time, dipping your toe in certain things for the first time in your 20s, finding your first job, if anything, in your 20s, really. In your 30s, you're figuring yourself out, like, okay, what am I going to do? Like, what, figuring yourself out in that way, like, all right, it's time to really, you know, take it seriously. And really, that should be an alignment. It shouldn't really be something that you have to be like, okay, now I need to do this now because I'm this age. No, it should be like even with me, I'm in my 30s now, and you only get 365 days, so it's gonna keep coming. But I was on my own since I was 19. So yeah, my life would have been different if I was still living under someone's roof all my 20s, right? But I'll say fortunately, living all through my 20s, I literally had to figure everything out myself. I literally had to raise myself in my 20s. Meaning, if you're living by yourself, you don't have people telling you, reminding you, pushing you, boom, 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 the way that you would living with someone. So I just maneuvered the way that I could, the best way I could, with still having to have so much responsibility, because most people would think, okay, in your 20s, you need to have fun, you need to explore, you want to travel, you want to experience things for the first time. Yeah, you try. You can try and attempt to, but you still know that you have responsibilities. You still know that you have a whole freaking place that you have to pay for and everything. Like, it's on your back. So, with still having your morals, still trying to keep all of those things intact. So now I'm in my 30s, and also me being awakened in a way in my 20s as well, which slowed me down even more. So it allowed me to start focusing on my spirituality. It allowed me to start keeping to myself more. I mean, I always was to myself, but you start to pull away from certain things, social media, all of it, right? If you're on a dating apps, you just pull away from the world in a way, and you start to cocoon yourself, and you're just doing these things, and you don't realize until you realize. You don't really know until it's finished, but you start to see that you have this time and this peace, this different type of peace, with juggling all these certain things, still having to work, still having to make time for you to pull in this revenue humbly, and then make time for this studying, this testimony that you do. And you start to see that it from what's coming from within you is not only teaching you, but it's like it's raising you, it's sculpting you, it's sharpening you, it's giving you more peace and understanding, because I'm sure it's not easy in your 20s, let alone if you're alone, right? Just mentally and all those things, psychologically. Even if your heart, right? If you come from a place of trauma and now you're on your own, I'm sure there's some trauma there that needs to be healed. So you're in my 20s, it was all those things. It was like, okay, I'm in this place alone. It's not scary, of course not, because I've known what isolation was when I was a child. So I actually love the fact that I'm alone. But just as we know life, it's not easy. It's like, okay, so I have to make this amount of money with this certain sort of wage, right? The lowest wage ever. I remember when I moved out, I only had 2,000 in my bank account, right? I moved out at 19. I remember I was only getting paid $9 for a couple several years. But my rent was like at the time 609 or something. And each year goes up, but okay, like there wasn't too much fear. I had fear back then, like it was there, but there wasn't too much fear. But I'm just saying that those were the circumstances, right? And so it's never easy. And then the way that things happen, where I was living under certain roofs where I wasn't being seen, I wasn't being heard, and all those things. So I'm coming to this space, this sanctuary now I call it, but I'm coming to this dwelling where I'm alone. And it's a different type of alone, because now I can see I'm alone, right? I can feel that I'm alone, but actually know that I'm not alone physically. There's a whole bunch of people in this house, but I'm still alone. This place was, I feel, I see that I'm alone, but I guess I don't feel alone, right? There was a form of comfort, I would say, a form of relief, because I was out of that space, away from those people and how it made me feel. It was darkness. But here we go into these things. Yeah, that was my circumstances. So it's not easy, or at least for what it is, it wouldn't be easy for just anybody with the circumstances. And then trying to be humble, not trying, but being a humble person, and then choosing to maintain being humble, because I'll always be humble in a way because of what I had to go through, but I can choose to put that behind me and choose to be somebody else, right? For the sake of money, for the sake of keeping this and keeping that, like, so you do your best. That's all I will say. You do your best to keep your morals in check, keep your standards in check, and it doesn't always happen, right? It doesn't always happen. You give in. You give in. For me, if I ever given in, or I hate those words, but this is educational and it's the truth. So when I say give in, if I ever given in, it was things like coming from a place where I didn't have friends, I didn't go out or anything like that. There was no disparity, but there was times where I just wanted to be a regular person, of course. And I'm in my 20s, so it's like, okay, well maybe I should join a dating app, right? So common things that would be okay for people. I shouldn't be so hard on myself, but um that's what I mean, giving in to those things, because I think once that happened, once I opened the door to doing common things, like things that I never got to do when I was younger, it invited in people that I didn't like, people that I wasn't compatible with, people that I knew, right? I felt it. But here's the thing, when you're younger, you still have so much hope in the world. You still have so much hope in people. And so you want to give it a try. You like, well, I don't know. I never tried naturally, right? So there's the grace in that. It's like I tried to do these common things as a young adult, doing it alone, because I was using what I had. I was using what was in front of me. I was using only what I knew. and what everyone else was sort of doing, which was the common things. And like I said, you don't know a person until you know them. You don't know until you meet them. And unfortunately, it was the way you meet these people, right? It's from online. You didn't meet them in a more, just in a better way, right? Because then it would save time, it would save energy. So yeah, giving in, and maybe people wouldn't look at it as disparity, but to me, it is a form. It is a form because it's like, okay, I wanted to go out, right? I wanted to maybe meet someone and like never to be in a relationship because of course I never even had friends, so it wouldn't make sense for me to be it wouldn't be common for me to say, oh, I want to be in a relationship. I don't even know what it is to really be a friend, or or someone to be a friend to me. So if I'm going to meet anyone, no, I'm not looking for a relationship. No, I'm not looking for kids. I'm only 20 something. But these are the things that you've witnessed, right? And these are the things you had to turn down. And every time you turned them down, you had to start over, right? That meant commonly you had to, okay, meet someone else, or keep that door open in a way. So you're meeting these sort of people, and this is what you're seeing. This is what you're bear witnessing to, and it's all for the good eventually. But in the moment of things, it's just like, wow, this is what's out here, and I think that sort of kind of opens doors on why people feel like, if this is what's out here, then let me blend into it, right? Let me give the world what it's asking, right? Because people say, oh, I only just want your body, or I just want this, like, I don't. And then so you're just thinking like, okay, let's make a deal. It becomes like a doggy dog world commonly, right? Like, understandably. Understandably. So I want to say these things I want to be very strategic with it. Understandably, that doggy doggy world mentality is what everyone is presenting, right? If someone's coming up to you and saying, hey, like, I don't really like to go out, so this is just what I'm into. You can either say no, or you could be like, all right, cool, like, let's do what it do, right? I guess in a way compromising to it, instead of just being like, yeah, nah, I'm good. I can do it my own way. Or this is not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a certain thing. But you start to compromise with the world with that doggy dog mentality. So with me, like, even if I dip my toe in things, even if I open door to certain things, that's the thing. It was never me, right? Like, I wasn't brought up that way. It wasn't in my face. And then also me choosing to want to be humble, stay humble. I closed that door, right? I closed it before someone had to close it for me. I closed it before I had to force it closed. I closed before it couldn't close. You know what I mean? I closed it before it just okay, before the door was taken off the freaking uh doorway. And now I had no choice. I had no choice but for there to just be an open pathway, and whoever comes in, and goes to and fro. But so I want to give thanks that I give that thanks to myself. I give it to God, because I did choose to close that door at 24, meaning I did choose to close it spiritually and physically in a way, right? Where no one could come in and out, to and fro, have that opportunity, have that leeway, have that space to maneuver themselves in. It was just once it was closed, right? Once I was in, and I was in his space, right? God was like, I got you. I got you. And then once that happened, it went into what I'm saying now. Like, a revelation. It was a different type of peace because again, all those things I was juggling in my early 20s. I wasn't in school, right? Still not in school in the conventional way. But I was doing all those things, still trying to be me. And then I was in this space where I was able to just focus on whatever it was, right? Him, me, clearly. And that's where all my testimonies came from. I was able to constantly speak to myself, constantly understand and stay in that space, that mindset, that soul set, all those things. Just like when I do now, when I stay to myself for a long period of time, you start realizing more and more and more and more. Even if you did already know these things, because this is nothing new, right? Like certain things that pop up in your mind, certain revelations, certain things that you don't like about the world, certain things that you know about the world. We've always known these things. But when you're not around certain people and there's not like things in your face, other people speaking, you got your own thoughts to think about. Like, what do I not like about the world, right? What do I not like to see about the world? That keeps coming to the surface. My window's open. That keeps coming to the surface. Like you can't run from that. The only way you can is if you go to sleep. Literally, physically, spiritually, if you go to sleep. Literally and typically. Because typically it's just turning TV on, turning something up so you want to hear it in your mind. Hear it in yourself. Hear you. Turn something else up. Let someone else speak. Right? Because I can talk and hear myself and hear the things of what all of what I know I don't like. What my soul, and it's just like, all right, let me turn something else up because I don't want to hear this right now, right? I don't want to feel this right now. Just like if someone had to hear me, I'm sure this is a certain sort of category, even though this is the foundation of the world, right? Like this is the truth of the world. It's a choice because it's a category. It's like, okay, is it time to hear this? Is it time to hear this sort of truth, this heaviness? Is it time to actually hold it? Right? It goes for everything. Is it time? Right? Is it time for me to hold it? Is it time for you to hear it? Do you want to hear it? Do I want to hear it? Do I want to speak about it? Do you want to talk about it? So there is a time for it. Whereas now I just want to listen to someone else. I just want to hear something lighter. I just want to carry something lighter. So we go to sleep to it, right? I can literally just go to sleep, or I can turn on this podcast and I can hear this person's mind and this person's spirit, and the path they're on is different. It's different than mine. And but if I want to tune back into the path, the sort of path that I'm on, then I'll listen to people that's like mind to me, and I'm like, yep, same thing, right? You get that same energy. And yeah, so mind's fluttering, but yeah, so all that to say, take what you could take from it. I'm just saying that yeah, like for me at least, I really strived without trying, but looking back, I really did, like anyone, I'm not perfect. I did worldly things, but I never went deep. I never went deep into it. I never went out into the streets in a way, right? If I wanted to go out, I never went out by myself. So of course that made it to where, unfortunately, there was some dependency. Like if I did, I felt like, okay, well, let me let me meet someone, right? And then we can go out. But to have taken myself out by myself, there was times where I thought about it, because of course I could, but what stopped me was I was like, wait a second, I'm not going out by myself. It just doesn't seem worth it, right? um and I think because I wasn't so pressed to do it, but it was just a natural thing, like, oh, I want to definitely have fun, or I definitely want to enjoy myself today or tonight. But I guess there was not so much disparity in me, because if I was that desperate, I just would have took myself out. And again, this is from the age of 20 to 24, so it was only a few years that I was in the world, that I dipped my toe in certain things, which now looking back at it, it's like, wow, Father made sure that he was going to keep me. He was going to pull me out of that fairly quickly at a young age, because I never really looked back and thought about it that way. Especially, me in it, in the midst of it. But now that I have reached my 30s, I moved out when I was 19. I was actually turning 20 in 5 days. And then I stopped everything at 24. And so that was enough time to just see, to just know, right? And to be like, you know what? I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to wait. Because the people that I'm seeing, the people that I'm meeting are kind of all the same, let's be real. And it's not nothing toward them. It's just the environment. It's society. It's what the doggy dog mentality is now. Like, you do for me, I do for you. And even if you're not like that, even if you never came from something like that, you can still do it for the benefits, right? You can do it, and that's laying down your morals. And that's never, and so with me, it was just, it bothered me to do that. Even if I did compromise in a way, it was like, I still knew I didn't like this person. I still knew that I was uncomfortable with this person. It was still very loud. And it was hurting me. It was bothering me to know that I couldn't be myself, or I wasn't happy. I wasn't even decently satisfied. So it was just like, do I continue this way? For what? For what? What am I getting out of it? What so-called benefits am I getting out of these people or this place? I even knew this, and I'm sure everyone knows this. If you're gonna stay in that sort of space or that mentality, you might as well just go all the way in, because you're not gonna get much out of it if you're playing small. If you're gonna be fast, if you're gonna be open to the world and what the world has to give you, just go out there and get it. You're gonna have to be out there in the streets. You're gonna have to play with the big dogs. That's what I mean. If you're playing with the world, if you're compromising with that doggy dog mentality, it doesn't make sense to. It just makes sense to, if you're gonna deal with it, go ahead and deal with it. It ain't no like in and out. It shouldn't be in and out. But if you're in, you need to be in, because what's it all worth it for then? Right? And I can use it in a different interpretation to get that message, but I hope you get the message that you're already risking your life. You're already risking your soul. You're already sacrificing your certain things, right? Like your happiness, your comfortability, your time. So why play small? Right? Just like when people say, if you're wanting money, go where the money is. Right? If you're looking for money, why would you go to places that don't got any money? That won't give you the money that is out there. Okay. Common sense would say, well, I'm already out here. This is what I'm doing. So I'm going to go out I'm gonna go deeper into it. So that's another way you need to look at it. And since I wasn't willing to do any of those things, and wasn't getting nothing from the world, not that the world could actually satisfy me, right? I was like, yeah, I'm gonna just mind my business. I'm gonna go within myself and walk in that way, because that's not the type of woman I am. That wasn't the type of girl I was, right? And I wanted to stay that way. And so that's just the direction that I took. I closed the door. And it just helped with everything else. God did the rest. I no longer wanted to be on social media, because what was the point? Right? It didn't matter if it was Instagram, Facebook, because back then it was just Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, pretty much. It wasn't TikTok. That's all I had, right? And I was barely on Facebook, so I was able to let that go. That was probably the first one I let go. And then it was Snapchat. And then it was Instagram. And before that, I was just deleting, I was unfollowing people that I didn't even really know. So it came down to just my siblings. I wanted to let it go anyway, so I kind of did it gradually, but it was fairly quickly. And you can see how I followed people that I didn't know, celebrities, whoever, and then I just kept my siblings. But that still wasn't enough for me, because what would have been enough was letting it all go. And so I did it. I let it go. And like I said, everything kept aligning. God was doing the rest. If I was talking to anyone, not anything serious, within that week, it was made apparent that something that they said or something that they did clicked in me. Like, it could have been the littlest thing. Like, if they said, oh, we were gonna go here, and then they said, oh, I couldn't make it, or they stood me up, or something that wasn't something that usually would happen. By the grace of God, right? Something just occurred and clicked in me to where it was like, I didn't care, right? I didn't care to the point where I was like, delete, right? And since I didn't have many contacts, it was easy. It was like all in the same week span, same 2 weeks. It was like everything was done. Everything was done. Meaning, if this person never had access to me, they no longer did. If this person did, they no longer did. It was all done. Those ties were cut. I couldn't explain it. It was miraculous, because everything was happening all around the same time. And then there was just me. There was just a clear pathway, right? And so I can see it now. I can see God's plan. God's plan for me. But you also have to understand that I was also ready for it. I was also at a point where I was like, yeah, nah, this ain't for me, Like, I don't want to meet people the way I'm meeting people. I don't no longer want to meet these sort of people that I'm meeting. Like, and instead of searching, or because you have to call it searching. Even though I wasn't out there like, oh, I need to search for a boyfriend, I need to search for a husband. Even though it was like that, I was still open to it. Like, I was still open to meeting people. So searching is a form of on apps, right? Like, oh, this person looks interesting. Let me read their bio. Let's see what they're into. Let's see what they're looking for. Searching, right? So there's forms of it. There's levels, but searching is searching. And so I didn't want to search. Because I was finding that when I was taking control, these were the opportunities presented itself. And boy, oh boy, what was that? And you have to understand that at the age that I was, 24, and I wasn't looking below that. Of course, I was looking my age and older, mostly older, not like old, but I definitely am not the type to look below my age. It just wasn't something. Common sense would tell me I'm already young. Why do I, So for me at least, I never looked below my age. So it definitely would be a little older than me. But even still at that age of 24, if I'm meeting people that are around my age, they're what a 20-year-old would sound like, look like, feel like, be like, okay? Even if he was 30 something. I'm already 31, so I'm still at the beginning of my 30s. But what makes a person mature? You see what I mean? So even if he was 40, all I'm saying is that the opportunity, the few, well, let's say several, because I could have gone on several dates. I don't even want to call them dates, but just meetups where I'm like, okay, well, nice to meet you. That was it. You know, there's times where, and this is me, this is for me, because I find that sometimes when you know you're not compatible with someone, but they give you this ultimatum, right? I've heard this, I've come across it before, where you know that you're not really compatible with this person, but you were willing to, be friends with them at least. But to them, the only way that they're going to spend time with you, I guess in their eyes, take you out, spend money or whatever, is if you're actually with them. What does that mean? It means I like you more than just friends. So in my eyes, when I hear that, it's an ultimatum because we just met. This is my first day. This was our first outing together. And so what I hear is that the next time that you are open to taking me out or us going out or something is if, I allow you to come into me a little more. I give you more leniency. So I respond with, no, I'm not interested in that way. I don't see you that way. I mean, we can definitely be friends. And they're saying, well, I'm not looking for friends. Why? Because they want more than that. But you see, that wasn't my mentality because I didn't have friends growing up. I didn't have relationships. So to them, they're probably in their 15th relationship, right? They're still open to it. They're used to it. They know all about it. They've had thousands of friends. They don't want no friends. They don't want no new friends. They want no new friends, you see. But how do I know? I'm not innocent, but I'm innocent in the knowing because it's just like I'm not from that sort of space. So, but I soon come to realize these things fairly quickly, as you see in those 4 years, that I understand where they're coming from. But dang, it's tough because it's just like, dealing with all that I'm dealing with, being young on my own, having to work with a low paying job. I'm sure the devil was like, yeah, she's gonna give in. Come on, baby, come on. Like the devil is like, look, just come on, come deeper, come to me, come, because the door was wide open. Not saying my door, well, my door was open too, but I'm saying the door to him, right? It just seemed it made sense, right? And I only say these things and depict it this way because I know that that's how he, I see it spiritually, and I know to see it through my experiences. How like most of the people I met, they gave me that ultimatum. And so to me, that's how I see it. It's like, okay, so you want me to just go. You want me to just say yes. Knowing that, well, they probably don't know, but they will know that I'm not interested in that way. Or I don't really like you like that. You know, I want to get to know you. Maybe I will eventually. I don't know. But you're making me have to choose the first day we meet or at the end of the day, right? I'll get a text message saying, "Hey, it was a nice time. I had a really nice time, but truthfully, I do kind of like you and I know that I'd rather want things to progress rather than be friends." And you're left with me, I'm left with having to read that after we done had a nice, if it was nice, maybe decent, lunch or whatever. I'm left with the decision. Well, it's not really a decision because I know what I'm gonna say. And that's no thank you. Even though this person can do things for me, help pay for my bills, like that's what I mean when I say the devil was like, look, baby, I'm here. Doors open, opportunities. I can help you. Just say yes and lay down your morals. Say yes and use these niggas. You know, it's that mentality. Like it pushes that mentality. People don't make it easy for you neither because you got people that will say, "Look, I can do this for you." They know you don't like them. They know this. And then it's just like, look. As long as you with me, as long as you give me this, I can give you that. You ain't gotta like me. So what I'm saying and all that is that yes, I'm not perfect. Yes, I'm not perfect. But do you see what I mean? That I've chosen to close that door. I didn't choose to go deep into it. I didn't want to use nobody. What I would say if I did is like, look, if you're gonna be around me, you need to do something, right? If you're going to be around me, you need to do something. But even still, I wasn't really meeting a whole lot of people for that to be successful. Like, what are you doing for me? Is there any longevity? No. So I just was like, Father, I'm just going to wait for you. And I'm going to make this vow. And that vow has been, you know, because I was a social drinker. I wasn't a drinker. Like I'll go, if I went out, I'll be open to drinking. But I didn't really go out. But it's still considered a drinker. So I said I wouldn't drink. I would wait until I'm in my Father's house with that new wine, like Jesus said. I no longer was open to smoke anything, right? And then the big one, I was gonna seal my garden. I wasn't gonna do that thing. So I was gonna wait for him. And really that just meant I'm going to wait for you, Father, to give me over to whoever's meant for me, right? Because I know that there's someone for me. And rather me go out there and search, continue on a dating app, right? I don't want to take control because I don't know people's intentions. I can't see beyond the veil unless you allow me to. Right? I'm not going to continue open up my door to strangers. I'm not going to continue to be disappointed and like choose to be. You know what I mean? Because disappointment is going to come. But I knew what was out there enough. Yes, there is a lot of beautiful people out there, like meaning in who they are, but it doesn't take me to be out there searching. There's no sense of fear of time with me. Like it's all right. It's all right. And that's why I speak about people say, oh, you're in your prime and things like that, or don't let your prime, don't waste those days. But I never was in fear of that because I'm always gonna be me. And I still look the same. I will say that. Not that that matters, but I do fairly look the same. I'm not over here like aging rapidly or anything like that. And then to me, I'm like, what is a 30-year-old supposed to look like? Now, let me say this. I understand that back in the day, it was a different time. Something in the air because they looked older. You know, in their 20s, they looked like they were 40. and their 30s look like they were 50. So it is something about that is kind of like questionable. But just saying today, like, what is a 30? And I think that's where it comes from when someone's like, oh, you look really young for your age, and it's like, well, I'm only 30. It's like someone saying you're old, and it's like, oh, I am, or I'm supposed to be, and it's like, oh, okay, oh. I didn't know. But yeah, so those things don't really phase me. And not even because I don't look old or I don't act old. It's because I know that I'm not. I know that I'm not, and that's just what it is. No one can make me feel, or yeah, it wouldn't affect me. But what affects me is if I wasn't growing spiritually. You understand? What would affect me if I wasn't maturing, if I wasn't evolving, because then I'll feel like a freaking failure, because it's like, well, what do I have to show on the surface? Nothing. Right? Because I don't have no possessions. I don't have nothing that I have accomplished in that way, in a way, right? So if I was not moving, healing, becoming this version, then yes, I would be questioning everything. I would have something to worry about. I know I would still have fear. Like, again, if the fear wasn't taken from me, right? The things that's God's doing to me, if I wasn't being taught by God, if he wasn't giving me this wisdom, if he didn't put me through all these things, and it not being like, hope I'm saying it right, just to know that all that I've been through is not in vain, that I can see the light, right? If there was a light that was promised to me and I never seen it, I would be like, God dang it, what's going on? I would be, that uncertainty, it would have been a negative uncertainty, because I say always that uncertainty is a beautiful thing, because that's when transformation, you're open to transformation, right? Because there's not one way. You're open, let's just say that. But this uncertainty would have been like confusion and like not knowing what to trust, like who to trust. I have uncertainty when it comes to, let me say this first, I trust in God now. Like, I trust in God versus if I was confused, right? If he wasn't in my life. But I trust in God. But there is still uncertainty, but not the negative uncertainty. It's an uncertainty of, it's the uncertainty of me not see, like me not, the natural things in the spirit. Like I can be a lot of things, but I just don't know. See, this one's a good one. This is a good topic because it's something that I keep inside. I've mentioned it before, but it's a knowing. It's not something I have to exercise. But it's simply that when I know who I am, what I see myself to be is, I always keep it short, and I say, oh, I'm on a council. I'm on the council. And if people know what that consists of, then you understand. But if I had to exercise it, which I don't, it's just simply, I always say it's just me. It's me being me. I'm like, it's just me. And I think to a person, it's like, oh, so you're saying that you're just who you are and who you're supposed to be. I said exactly that. Like, I believe and I know I'm everything. I can be anything. So the uncertainty in this world is, I don't fit in a box. Yes, I want to help the world. I want to be the justice. What is that in the world? Oh, a lawyer. Oh, it could be a police officer. Oh, it could be a judge. You see what I mean? And the world is complex, because then you got to put yourself in one box. Like, where would I fit in? Oh, I could be a therapist. I could be a counselor. Okay. Yes, that's something that would be predicted. Like, oh, if someone knew who she was, what career would she be in? they probably would look in those areas. They probably wouldn't look in healthcare. It would not. But in this world, you have to choose a career, and that's where the uncertainty comes from. It's what's next, Father? It's almost like saying without saying, what you see, that's the uncertainty. Like, what door, where are you bringing me? And that's the thing about faith. It's like, I put my trust in him. Yes, I have to do the work. I'm the vessel. But that's what I mean. Since I put my trust in him, and I know I still have to do the work, and I'm clearly working, I'm just seeing how what's at the end of the tunnel. What's at the end of the tunnel is light, right? See, it's like I can ask these questions, but I know. And I think the uncertainty comes from in this world. If it was this world, I'd have no hope. But if there is a God, then he's gonna make it happen. Because I can say, oh, at the end of this tunnel, there's light. All this work that I'm doing, it may not look like work on the surface, but all this work I'm doing, there will be light at the end of the tunnel because there's already light shining in. I can see it. But do I know what that literally looks like? Like, can I say, oh, I know the day, I know the hour? No. And so I think I'm moving away from uncertainty, but I know at a time there was. Because it was just like when I get in my head and I'm just like, oh, what, okay. And I think it's mainly because I'm still in this world and it's like, okay, like, is this... That's why I don't like thinking about things like this, because it's tough. Because it's like you're doing already work, and it's like, okay, do you want me to do more work? Do I have to do more work? Because I know the work that I'm doing has already made me become this person, has already brought me into this place. But here's the thing, being a worker of God, most times, right? Most times, in my situation, it's not bringing me like the wealth that can make me comfortable on the surface, make me comfortable while I'm still here. So, but I know it's making me rich inside. I know that it's my riches are in heaven type thing. So that's correct. He's right. Like, everything he says is, oh, your heart's desires and you're rich in spirit. And yes, that has happened. I have accumulated that. I am rich in spirit. I still hope. I still believe. I still have peace. I still have sanity. Like, with all the things I've been through, with all the isolation that I go through, it is still full, right? I'm still very full and jolly. But then it's like, okay, well, I still need to put in work on the surface. What does that look like? And in the world, it looks like choosing to put yourself in a box. And that's okay. And if it takes that, then it takes that. And so all I can say to that is that it'll happen when it's meant to happen. So I don't force myself. I know that me working on myself is first and should be first before I even make endeavors into other things. So that if I even do get to have the chance to go in other spaces, I'll be who I need to be, right? My attitude, my confidence, my mind, my spirit, because we know in these places in this world, they feed on the spirit, right? You always got to be sharp around these people. And I know the places that I gravitate to in my spirit, they look for that, right? And in healthcare, you can get away with it because it's more clinical, it's more hands-on. You're just there to do. You're not there to talk. You're there to just, fix in a way. But I talk for a living, right? Like that's a passion of mine. I like to talk. That's just me. And so in places and careers where you have to talk, they have no choice but to like feel your energy because you're in this space with them and it's supposed to be calm. And so you can be talking, but if your mind isn't right, if your energy isn't right, it's going to be all over you. You literally have to be what you say you are, right? Like you literally have to talk that walk and walk that talk. Because if you don't, it's going to be scripted. You're going to have a hard time counseling people, talking to people because you have to think hard about it. So you really have to be who you say you are because it's really presented in spaces and places of outside of clinical care, outside of clinical work, outside of clinical careers, right? Like you're more so in like the spiritual careers where it's coming from inside you. What do you have to offer? What do you have to give them? What are you pouring out? What are you speaking into them? So, yeah. See, like in healthcare, well, clinical care, hands on, you could be hands on with someone, stitching someone up, giving someone a vaccination, doing vitals, cleaning, bathing someone. And yeah, they could probably sense your energy, but you can hide it very well, right? Because you don't have to talk to them. You can say hello, good morning, this is what I'm going to do for you, bam, right? Because typically they're supposed to just allow you to do the work. Like you need to focus. So there's not much that you need to, there's no pressure on your spirit necessarily. There's pressure on your flesh. Like when I'm stitching someone up, you better make sure your hands are not shaking. Yes, it is all spiritual, right? But I'm just saying that it's not first. They can't see it. They can only see it through, certain things like that. But anyway, that's a whole nother topic. I probably went too deep into it. But I mean, shoot, this is the book of me, so yeah, you get what you get from it. Yeah, this is a freelance. This is a freelance. This is not in order. But yeah, so I chose to close that door, right? And that's what I did. And like I said, I closed it before someone had to close it for me or I was forced to close it. In other words, I closed it before something ever actually happened to me. I never really had any bad experiences neither. Or what I considered bad, because I was always still safe at the end of the day, right? Like even if I went out somewhere and the person was not that nice, or they felt they were turned down, so they got upset about it. I still got home safe. I still got home safe, and I never talked to that person again. But it kind of comes with the territory. It's like, yeah, it wasn't what I expected, but I wasn't surprised, right? That a person can act a certain way because they were looking for something. They expected something, even though they didn't ask for it. They didn't, it'd be better if they told you ahead of time, like, hey, this is what I'm looking for. So don't be surprised if I ask for this at the end of the night. And some people get lucky and some people don't. So the ones that don't, it's just like they can handle it the way they choose to handle it. But again, I've always been safe for the most part, and yeah. So again, I made those decisions at that age, and so here I am, and I'm still in that. I still agree with my decisions. Life doesn't make it hard. Let's say that. People don't make it hard to stay in this. Stay in the vow. Yeah, I think it'd be you. It's yourself that would make it hard. Because I think what happens is nature starts to take over. And again, this is adult talk, right? So when I say nature, I mean it could be a lot of things, physically, mentally, spiritually, but we'll talk about it. For example, nature taking over, like mentally, I know that this is not normal, right? I know all this isolation. I know that I wasn't meant to be alone, type thing. Yes, mentally. Physically, I'm a woman, I have needs. My flesh has needs, and I can take care of those needs if necessary. But it's not, for me, it's not bad. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not in need. So to that point where it's like, oh my God, no. Do what you have to do for yourself, And then it's also a part where, since it's not normal, it would be nice to meet decent people, It would be nice to have a decent man. But, you can't control that. You see what I mean? You can't control those things. So, and even whether it's a man or a woman or, just a person, you get what I mean? Like, just a person, whether you wanted to just have conversation, of course, you'd want a decent person around you, right? Family, you'd want decent family members around you. So they don't make it hard. I mean, they make it hard. No, I'm sorry, I'm saying that backwards. They don't make it hard for you, right? It'd be you making it hard for you. The world kind of makes it easy to stay in this space. But you yourself know that you deserve what you deserve. So that's what makes it hard for yourself. That's what makes a person go out there and search. Like, oh, well, I deserve. So let me take control. When the world shows you time and time again, people show you time and time again why you've made this decision, why you made a vow. It's like, oh, thank God I did, thank God. But then it's you again, right? Your nature. It's like, well, I still deserve happiness. I still deserve decency. I still deserve someone. I still deserve some things. So then you go out there, and then you may be reminded again. So it's that back and forth, but I'm not back and forth. I haven't been back and forth. Recently, I would say in the last summer, I did open my door a little bit. I cracked it. Yeah, I did. I cracked my door. There was a little light shining in, and the moths came. No, I'm kidding. But I did crack it. I didn't open it all the way. But I cracked it. And I remember when I did. I remember when it did happen. And I was like, huh. I wonder why the door is cracked. Because it's been over 6 years, It's been over 6 years. And the door's been shut. I didn't try to open it. I didn't try to crack it open. I never attempted to, right? Like, I was so focused. My father had me so, I have to give praise to him. Because whatever he did, and what, it was me too, but I know he did all of it. Because it's like, how, when people say, how could you have done that for so long? And I'm sure there's a lot of people that have done it for many, 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 many years. Kept their door closed, kept their garden sealed type thing. But I will say it does really help when you don't have social media in that extent, right? I still have YouTube or something, but not where people can actually contact me, not where I'm tempting myself. So there's certain things we can do on the surface that will help it stay in this place, right? Isolation, when you're going to work and you're coming back home. You're not looking, you're not trying to parade yourself around and get attention. If you go to the store, you're going there and you looking at what you're looking at. You ain't looking around, because again, your soul is not focused on that. Like, it's, God, whatever he's doing, he's just like, look, straight. He's like keeping your head straight, and you're like, your agreement with it. And you just have to describe it that way, because you're just like, wow, 6 years have passed by, 7, and it's just like, wow, I actually did that. So yeah, the little things that help, the everyday things, is the basic. Not having social media, not having dating apps, right? Like, what? Not going out, right? Not doing drugs, right? Not flirting with people just to get attention. Just not in that space. Going to work and coming home. Yeah, if you want to go out, go shopping, do that. But even still, I can do shopping at home. But yeah, just kind of staying with yourself for a consistent amount of time, for that amount of time, and that helps drastically until you crack your door open, right? And that just means that you're open, ain't wide open, and so that's a whole nother topic, because when someone says, oh, their door is cracked open, they're not saying, oh, they want you to just walk in. They're not saying, oh, you can just come on in and everything gonna be normal, or what you would expect. It's, no, the door's cracked, so I'm just cracking it just to see what's up, what's going on. I'm willing to be like, hello, how are you? But it doesn't mean I'm willing to literally invite you in. So, but it did happen last summer, and I noticed it, I sensed it. And I was like, seems like my door's cracked open. And you're just like, why is that, Because I know Father don't want me out in these streets the way I can be, all wild and free. And I know I wouldn't want to do that anyway, but I know that he tames me and he keeps me for a reason, because he knows I can be. Who wouldn't want to be free? But he's like, not around roaring lions, that's the thing. It's like, I've spoken about this before, and I'm just like, I know who I am. I know that I'm not like a true introvert, but what keeps me an introvert is his training, right? The isolation every day. The more you are in isolation, the more you can endure it. The more because isolation is already comforting as it is when it is. And there's a lot more of the times where you have to be. So how are you when you have to be, right? And so the times where you have to be, which is most times, I'm okay with it, right? And so the more that I'm alone, the more I'm okay with it, until nature happens, and I'm just like, I deserve better. I deserve this. And it's not even like I deserve. It's just more of, dang, when will my life begin? But what saves me is the knowing. Like, I know that I'm who I am. I know that I'm evolving. I know this is not all in vain. I know that my Father, loves me. He sees me. He hears me. He's with me. Like, I know all those spiritual things are true. And those should be the most important things. But when the flesh, is trying to get my attention, it's loud too. It's apparent, as it should be. And that's all that I'm saying, that there's the spirit and there's the flesh. And so dealing with the flesh, it's not really hard, because again, the training helps. And then, I hate to say it, but when it comes to like satisfying yourself, it's not a big thing. And I feel God there's something that God does. Like, it's not like, oh, if I'm alone, I'm gonna be, how can I say it? I'm gonna be just lonely. No, not at all. You're gonna be satisfied. You're gonna be satisfied, and that's all I'm gonna say. There's no, oh my God, I'm so lonely. No, 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 not at all. And like I said, what helps that is knowing. Like, I know that I'm not alone. If I didn't know that God seen me, then I would probably be like some other people, where it's like, oh, I need attention, right? Because you want to be seen. That's what you're searching for. That's what we're searching for. The emptiness, to fill it with love and care, like people that actually care for us. So we're willing to go out there and search for it and search for it. And this person and that person, we're willing to stay in situations because maybe we feel like we're not worthy because we don't have that. No one built us up, right? God, you didn't build yourself up. God didn't, well, I don't say God didn't, but what I'm trying to say is that, like, God wasn't, you weren't. See, I never had to say it this way. Let's just say you didn't have a relationship with him. Okay? Because I always say, God helped me, God built me up, God sculpted me. So yeah, in a way, he was there too, but you didn't want it, or whatever the case that is. But again, there's a lot of things that I understand and I'm grateful for because he's in my life. And just because he's in my life and I speak this way and I praise him and I'm full of integrity, I still know that I could have been the opposite. Because I also can be if I just choose to not want to use my integrity. Right? I can have the highest integrity. I can have morals, but I can still choose to not use my integrity. So picture someone that never built themselves up to have integrity, right? Never stood up, never spoke up for themselves. So they don't even know the confidence that they could possess, right? I understand that part too. And that is why you see certain people and they look desperate. But to them, it may not be desperity. It's just them looking for what everyone deserves, everyone wants, everyone needs, or what other people have already. It's like, how do you have those things? How did you acquire that? And to them, it's like, well, I got to go out there and get it. I got to go out there and take it. So they look into the world. They look for it in other people. They're not in a space by themselves to see it's in themselves. They don't stay in this space longevity to see that God can teach them all these things. God can give them all these things. They hear that he can, but they're not willing to put in that work, that time, that energy. Instead, they'll say, I have no time for that, right? I have no time to stay home. I have no time to be alone, because the more that I'm alone, the more that I'm missing out. The more that I'm missing out on life, the more I'm getting older, the more that I'm going to pass my prime, the more that I'm going to literally now become desperate. No one's going to want me, and this, and so it's like the pressure that they feel because they're reliant on the world ways, the world's expectations, the world's eyes, how they're going to see them, how the world's going to perceive them. Because we all do get old. We all do get old in age, right? I'm 30. So some people might look at me and be like, oh, you're old, right? Because to younger people, I am older, right? But since I don't validate, I don't look to them to validate who I am and how and what I should do. Right? Like, oh, maybe you should freeze your eggs eventually. Because you're 30. It's like, why? I trust in the Lord, whereas other person trusts in the world because they have not had that relationship. And with a relationship, you reap benefits. Yeah, baby, you reap benefits, don't you? We know this because we all for the benefits, are we not? So let's not act like we don't know what comes from a relationship with someone, let alone God Himself. So being in a relationship with Him, an intimate one, you start to receive. And as I've spoken, the fear is gone. So He's taken that away from me, right? I've received the gift of peace in that. And so many other things that only can be shown through knowing me. It's not anything on the surface, right? Man can give me things on the surface, and hope that he can penetrate my soul and things like that. But I'm just saying that you're going to see more of it on the surface, like what he can do without trying to. It's like, oh, well, I can buy you this, I can buy you that, I can show you this, I can show you that on the surface. Whereas God naturally gives inside. It's inside you. Yes, He can give on the surface too. Just like that other person can give you things inside, make you feel things inside. But we're just speaking generally. That if you're going to try to expect things from God, expect them to be given to you inside you. Expect to know to see them, to start knowing to hear them. Because you think, okay, He's giving you this intimate gift. He's only giving it to you. He wants you to see it. Only you will see it. Right? It's just like a dream. I'm going to give her this gift of dreams. Only you can see it. So, yeah. I've not had the worst life. I mean, my life's still going. But I've not had the worst life. I've just had the life that I've had. That's it. And I've learned enough from it, right? I've gotten, like, He's like, look, I'm going to give you this sort of life where, just like anyone's life, it's enough. It's going to be enough for you. He's going to make sure of it, right? Just like He's going to make sure you're going to get to where you're going. So I didn't have to have this sort of life or that sort of life to see this or to know this. It was just enough for me to know. It was just enough for me to see enough to be like, ugh, I don't want to go no farther. I don't want to deal with these sort of people. I don't want to put up with this sort of thing. Versus someone that puts up with it their whole lives, stays in a place their whole lives and never leaves. I wasn't built like that. I was like, yeah, sniff it. Nah, this ain't for me. Nah, you ain't gonna talk to me like that, right? Like, He's built me up to be very strong-willed, headstrong woman. Like, you're not gonna disrespect me. It's, to me, I see equalness. I don't see I don't see the program like, oh, I'm the head of this house, so I could talk to you this way and you can't talk to me. Or I'm the adult, so I can speak to you a certain way, but you can't speak to me the certain way because you're not the adult, or you're not my age. And it's like, I don't see that. I don't see that program. And I won't accept that program. I see equally. I say, don't disrespect me, and I won't disrespect you. Just like if I'm disrespecting someone or I'm raising my voice at someone, I expect them to say something about it. So that's how I see it. Treat me how you want to be treated. And we won't even have to deal with this sort of communication if we were just intentional. If we actually care for each other. If there was true love there. Yeah, we can have disagreements. Yeah, we can have this and that. But if I'm being disrespectful to you, that there's something there. There's some darkness there. There's something that shouldn't be, right? And that's what we don't want. You want to be who you need to be enough so that you won't have those sort of issues, right? You want to feel fulfilled before you meet someone, because there's no reason why you should be disrespectful to them. Just like if they were being disrespectful to you, you're not going to stay for that. So it's not like, oh, you're going to be playing that tit for tat, like, oh, we're just disrespectful to each other. No, that opens doors to other things. So if someone is being disrespectful in this situation, you walk away. Just like most men do. They have a good way of doing it, even if they don't want to, they just naturally do. They don't put up with that. And I think also because they don't talk the way we talk. Like us women talk a lot. We like express our emotions very loudly, and men, they don't have that way of doing things unless something really happens. So it's natural for them to be like, look, all that is not necessary. Or they'll walk away because it's too much. They're not used to it. When we as women, we're in that daily. Our emotions are up, down all day, right? Dealing with everything. So just dealing with other women, dealing with the children, dealing with the world, and just the dealings of just being a woman and what a woman is. So yeah, all that to say, I want to be fulfilled. I want to be happy in who I am. I want to know who I am and be who I am, so that when I do encounter someone, anyone, I'm confident. I'm sure about myself. I'm not looking for them to complete me. I don't necessarily need them to show me anything or to be anything other than who they already are, right? So you want to meet the person as who they are, not what you want them to be, not what you feel they need to be, because they should be already who they are. So I'll leave it there.